Yeah, let's pop the top on this thing. What do we have here? Well, damn. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So here it is, Saturday, July 29th, right at 12:30 in the afternoon. Temperature is about 89 degrees, humidity is in the low 60s, but the heat index is 103. So with that being said, this is going to be a quick inspection, and this is also going to be the last inspection or time in the colonies for July. On the topic of what I'm going to do today, my time out here is going to be quick and deliberate, meaning I am going to get into hive number 6 again, the one with the vertical brick that indicates they are queenless, just to see if they are still queenless. And if that is the case, I am going to use one of the 2 5-frame nukes down on this side of the bee yard to figure out which one is the strongest. I have a feeling it's the one with the purple top box on there, and most likely I will use them to combine the remaining bees from number 6 into one colony, and most likely move that colony down into one of those 2 positions. So like I said, quick and deliberate, mainly because of the heat. It is just too hot and too humid to be out here for hours. And in fact, if you haven't watched Paul Boniface's most recent video over at Warden's Farm, go check that out. Definitely displays some signs of heat exhaustion towards the end of his video when he's wrapping things up and providing his summary inside his honey house. But point being, be careful. The heat creeps up on you, and if you're out here not hydrating or haven't hydrated and you're just trying to push through getting through several of your colonies, I have been subject to this before, where I try to push real hard, and I definitely started seeing like spots and stars and everything, and I knew at that point it was time to wrap it up. So that's it, folks. Quick introduction, quick time in the yard, at least that's the intent, and that'll be it for this week. All right, down here at number 6. So if you missed last week's video, I ended up condensing this colony. They did have 2 medium boxes, but between the 2, they were using about 50% of them, really. So I ended up condensing the 2 medium boxes down to 1, moving the best frames into the 1 box. And they have had bees for quite a while. I also think they've been queenless for quite a while. So I left a queen excluder on them just in the sheer chance that they had a queen down in the bottom box. I just wanted to keep her confined to that, but I really don't think they do. So I'm just gonna go through them, like I said in the intro, just one more time, give them one last chance or one last look to see if they have a queen. And if they don't, which is my suspicion, I'm going to use one of the 5 frames to combine with number 6 here. And just to show you, I mean, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 nice frames of drawn comb with the outside 4 frames, 2 on each side, being kind of new, because you can see there's really not much going on either one of those. So 6 nice frames to use, 5, maybe 5 from one of the nukes, and then we'll get them right. But I'm just going to go through these 6, see if they have any evidence of a queen, and if nothing's changed from last week, proceed with my plan today. All right, and just like that, things got pretty interesting. So I think I talked about this in a previous video, that you can usually tell if a colony is queenless by their temperament. And in my experience, queenless colonies are usually a lot more noisy, if that makes sense. And what I'm looking at right now is a nice patch of larvae that's not capped yet, right? So that's less than 10 days old. And right over here, we have several cells with an egg, just 1 egg. So it's not a laying worker situation. So just like that, my plans have shifted, and now I am going to be looking for an unmarked queen. So let's see if I can find her. And if I do, I will do the best of my ability to cage her and get her marked. All right, over here on frame number 6, and as you can see, she's been pretty busy. That is actually a very nice frame of brood. I don't see her just yet, but I have about maybe 2 more frames to go. And what I have learned between the last few seasons is if you cannot find the queen, but a hive has plenty of signs they are queen right, it is not the end of the world. Have some patience and try again next time you are in the hive. Alright, not too much capped brood on this frame, but this comb is pretty dark, so it could be littered with eggs. Just can't see them because of how dark the comb is. But if you have not seen me do this in a previous video or talk about it, this is an excellent tool. Just a nice bright flashlight. And this might look expensive. Oh, it definitely isn't. It's an Amazon purchase. Maybe 20 bucks. Alright, no eggs on that side, which is fine. No real eggs on that side. So I'm just gonna keep on going and see if I can find her. Alright, we got her on frame number 8, and she is doing her darnest to evade me. So let me get her caged. Gotta find her again. She keeps going back and forth. There she is, right on the bottom here. Just wait till she gets onto some comb. There we go. Alright, got her. Nice looking queen too. Let's set her aside. Get everything put back together, and that's it for this. Get her marked, get her released, and that's actually nice to see. I'll talk about that here in a second. Let's see if we can get her. Okay. Almost like I know what I'm doing. All right, let's get her marked. And that'll be it for this one. That is excellent to see. Late July, hives becoming queen right, but then based off the capped brood, some of those frames probably had eggs maybe 2 weeks ago. So this could have been another late June swarm. She did not like that. Alright, here we go. Okay. Ain't much to it. Give her a minute or two to dry off, and then we'll get her released. Alrighty. There we go. And there she goes. Alright, well that was a bit of a surprise. I was not expecting to find hive number 6 queen right. So as y'all saw, a few frames of nice capped brood, a few frames of eggs, which will be capped in the next few weeks. They might be doing just fine. Well, I mean, they are doing just fine, so I have a more hopeful outlook on their future. All right, well, with that being said, that kind of changes my plans today. So what else can I do? I might just take a peek into some of the hives, see how they're doing, if they've started to use any of the top boxes that I gave them. The one that comes to mind is, I think that's the most recent swarm, 13 or 14 on the very end. They're in a stacked 5-frame nuke configuration. And same thing as I said in the intro, that was my plan to combine 6 with, was the hive down in the 11th position. They're also a stacked 5-frame nuke setup. So I'm just going to take a peek into them, see if they're using the top box, and kind of make a determination. I'll probably let everything be for now and then reassess in a few weeks whether they need the extra space. If you didn't catch the video before this, that was my most recent time out in the yard. I ended up combining 14, 15, and 16 all right here into this one, which is the only one that is a stacked 10 frame. I used number 16's queen, which was the colony in the 5-frame box here. They seem to be doing pretty well. I think it was hive 14 or 15, yeah, maybe 14. They had been queenless for quite a while, and in fact they became very honey bound. Almost every single frame of the 10 frame contained nectar and honey and pollen. No eggs, absolutely queenless. So it was a good use of 16's queen with 14's resources, and then a few frames from 15. Yeah, I checked out that video. Combining 3 hives into one, never done that before. I've combined 2 into one, which is somewhat normal, but 3 into one, a bit unusual, especially for me. I was able to get it done last week, and maybe I'll take a peek into them since I have some extra time today. Really curious to see what they've been doing with the resources. So now we have 13 hives, I think. Let's just say that's 13, 12, absolutely strong. They still have a queen excluder, and actually a few of them still do, because I meant to get around to that a few weeks ago and I didn't. And in fact, this one still has a brick on top because they had a few frames that I wanted to keep an eye on, whether the bees needed a few more weeks to cap them. And although it seems late in the season, previous years I have pulled honey in August, mid to late August. So with that said, I'm gonna pop the top on them first, see if any of those remaining honey frames are harvestable, and if they are, maybe I'll get around to that tomorrow, and then I will quickly get through the rest of the colonies that have a honey box, pull the excluder. And I've said it in previous videos, but I try to give the bees the old honey supers once I remove the queen excluder as an extension of the brood chamber, as long as the queen moves up and starts laying eggs in them. And that seems to help me, at least, for overwintering the bees. And I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do all this pretty quickly because we have rain coming in about 20 minutes. So let's get to it. All right, down here at number 8, this is the one I was just talking about. They have the brick on top, indicating that they may have had a few remaining food frames that could be harvested. They just weren't ready at the time because they weren't capped enough. So I'm just gonna take a peek in here, see if anything's changed, and if it looks like those frames are better suited for the bees, I'll leave them. So that's a nice frame, a lot of nectar, so it kind of shows that the colony's still bringing in food from somewhere. Same on that side. Nice nectar frame. Oh, man, that's like really stuck in there. It's got some weight to it. Nah, that's more of a frame for the bees. Same on that side. And probably with the next one too. So yeah, I'm just gonna, let's see. Yeah, it gives them the food they need. All right, so I'm just gonna put this back together and pop the top box off, remove the queen excluder, and that'll be it for this one. This thing's been on here since probably about April 1st. So April, May, June, what is that, 3 months, give or take? 4 months, approaching 4 months. All right, so that's all I'm doing. Not gonna try and disturb the bees too much. But yeah, now the queen can move up and maybe use the medium box to extend the brood chamber. All right, I'm actually at the hive right next to the one I was just in for the same reason. All right, that's that. Easy day, right? All right, second to last one. Had more I left more queen excluders in place than I realized. Man, that is on there, and honestly, that top box is heavy. So I might pop the top on that and take a look. Oh man, that's got some weight to it. Oh, took the lid with me. Good God. All right, well, let's put this back. Yeah, let's pop the top on this thing. That surprisingly had a lot of weight to it. Oh Lord. Ooh. What do we have here? Well, damn. Hey, actually, let's I'm actually gonna put the queen excluder back and get into this box later today, if not tomorrow. This, if you can't tell, this is a bit of a surprise. I wonder if I moved the brick from the wrong colony as the indicator. Okay, check this out. We have one. Holy smokes, what is going on here? All right, not so much on that one. It's already pulled one frame. So I'd say that's two. That's at least two frames. That's three. Four. Try to get this one as close to the camera. Four. Man, that's five. Six. Yeah, 6.5. All right. If I didn't sound excited when I was in that colony, I definitely should sound excited now. They have 5 solid frames and like maybe half on 2 more, so 5 for sure with like 2 halves. Let's just say maybe 6. I'll probably leave those halves for the bees. So that's 5 more frames of honey, at least 15 to 20 more pounds for me to pull. So I'll get out here later today, grab the hive butler, do the same thing I've been doing throughout the season, and that was a nice surprise. So that brick was down here on like number 7 or 8 or something. I think I marked the wrong colony to follow up with. So the last thing I'm gonna do, I'm glad I popped through there to remove the queen excluder, because that was a surprise. Again, last thing I'm gonna do, get into the double deep and just kind of take a peek, see what the bees have been doing in the last week since combining hives 14, 15, and 16. And then if I feel like it, not really 100% sure, might just get into the double stack nuke just to take a look in the top box. And I might do that for the other one too, but we'll see. Rain should be here in about 10 minutes, so my time is fairly limited. All right, down here in the colony in the 12th position, this was one of my best producers this year, surprisingly. But I just took a look at the top box. They don't have a lot going on. They do have a queen excluder, so I am going to pull the top box, pull the queen excluder, and then they will be good for the season. I'm hoping this fall we have a nice goldenrod flow, and even though I won't have queen excluders on, if the flow is strong enough, maybe the bees can store a frame or two on the outside of the top box. And as long as it doesn't contain any brood, maybe we can get a goldenrod harvest this year. All right, down here at the very last colony, the double deep, I just smoked them and they seem very agitated, so kind of curious why. So last week, like I said a few times, combined 3 colonies into this one with a swarm queen, and kind of checkerboarded a lot of the frames between the top box and the bottom box. Food stores and frames that just, I think there was like one frame that had a decent patch of brood, so they're really starting from scratch. And I am just primarily interested to see what exactly they've been up to over the last week, meaning if I can tell whether or not they've started to move from some food stores around to give the queen more space to lay, etc, etc, etc. So I'm just going to go through this rather quickly, and not really expecting to see too much change, especially in a week, but sometimes the bees will surprise you. And as I say that, this won't come up on camera, but that open patch right in the middle there, looks like they have started, or not they, but the queen has started to expand the brood chamber. So she's already moved up into this top box. Yeah, as I can see on both sides of that frame. So, all right, that's pretty much all I'm gonna do. Like I said, not much. I'll check on them next weekend, and that'll probably be it for a while. All right, down here at the last 5 frame nuke, stack nuke. It's in the 11th position currently, but that doesn't really mean much because hives kind of come and go a lot, especially this season. And this is exactly why I wanted to look in the top box. So doesn't look like they're really doing much, if anything. I mean, they're in the top box, but I mean, if I pull a frame, I'm not going to find any drawn comb or brood or anything like that. So I'm just going to give them another week and let the first weekend of August kind of determine my way forward with this colony, the last colony that I just showed you, and any other colony that doesn't need extra space, especially rolling into the fall. All right, last colony that I'm going to get into today is actually the last swarm that I caught. Whether I call that 13 or 14, it's kind of up in the air. And they might actually, yeah, seems like they're using the top box kind of nicely. Let me just pull, I don't remember how I configured this. Let me just pull this frame here. And I have noticed this during the season is I think some of the older foundation that I've had, the plastic foundation that was probably coated with wax once upon a time, it kind of just deteriorates, or it's just a thin coat. And sometimes I do, and most of the time I don't, go through and recoat frames. And you can see by not recoating, the bees kind of build wax in all sorts of very funky ways, except on this one. This one actually looks really nice. I wish all the frames look like that when bees are starting to draw them out. Same on this side. It looks like the queen has started to move up here a little bit, little small patch of brood. But yeah, surprisingly, they're actually doing okay here. All right, well, that's good to see. Let's get them put back together, and that'll be it for this week. All right, well, there you have it, folks. Last inspection of July. It's about 1:15, so I was out here for maybe 45 minutes. Like I said, quick. That's quick for me. I'm usually out here for quite a few hours. But on a brighter note, it looks like the rain has moved around us because it's totally out of the forecast. So let's do a quick recap. As y'all saw, most recently, the very last colony, the most recent swarm we caught, they're making pretty good use of the top box. Didn't get into any of these. Number 6, queen right. So that was awesome to see. I thought I had some frames to harvest on one of these colonies, but then go figure, the colony that has 5 to 6 frames, I took the brick off to set one of the top boxes on top. So before I forget, it's the last colony that has a queen excluder. So that's my indicator that they have frames ready to harvest. Quick peek into them, mainly just to remove the queen excluder. They're doing okay. And then the last hive, now 13, which was for like the 80th time, the combination of 3 hives last week, they seem to be doing okay as well. So I will be out here this afternoon to pull at least 5 frames out of, let's see, 13, 12, number 11, aka 0, which was probably number 10 in a previous season. The one just fell off. So yeah, I was surprised to see that, because as y'all saw, I had the brick marker on another hive, popped the top on that, and I was kind of surprised because they didn't really have any capped honey or real nectar or anything in the top box, which made me think maybe I just mismarked a hive with the brick, and it looks like I did, because when I went to pull that top box really to remove the queen excluder, like y'all saw, I was surprised how much weight it had, and then quickly had the thought, maybe I should check this before I blindly remove the queen excluder, put the top box back on, and call it a day. And I'm glad I did, because 15 to 20 pounds of honey for sure. I'll harvest that this afternoon. But there you have it, folks. Quick time in the yard. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the video, and like usual, we'll catch you next time.